Okay, we are live. Let me just adjust the light a little bit. That's better. Okay, human sacrifice. We will talk a little bit about that. It is not only a thing of the past, sadly, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a few seconds. Let me just say hello to the usual suspects in the chat. Uh, let's see here. RC Scott, Modern Viking Norway. Lots of people are joining now. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Raging Punk. Well, thanks a lot for that donation. That's extremely kind of you. So let me get straight to the point here now. Human sacrifice. We are going to talk about that. But first, I will have to ask you to imagine the following. And this applies especially to the parents out there. One day you get a letter, and in that letter, it says that your teenage daughter or your teenage son will now be drafted. Is that what they call it in English? Will have to join the military. And in the military, your son or daughter will get some basic training, um, will be trained by a 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old in the auto war, being ironic here, and then sent off to fight a war in a foreign country. Is that okay? Is that something that should ever happen? It has happened before, and let's just say I hope it will not happen again. Now, but it probably will. Now, I'm going to say that we need, well, since I'm talking about a topic here that is, well, I'll try to avoid talking about the Ukraine, but you all understand that that's what I'm talking about here. YouTube has on its list of things you can't talk about, that's the Ukraine. If you say something that's against a certain narrative, the whole channel will be in trouble. So keep that in mind, and I'll do as best as I can here. So, I mean, I live in Norway, and I am a parent, and we have obligatory military service in Norway. It is laughable. It's shameful. It is a and also YouTube has now decided that you can't swear. So I'll try not to do that. I don't do that very often, but it happens. But I'll try to say, yeah, it is a disgrace, and it is also a crime. It is defined as a crime against it goes against human rights. So Norway is on a list of countries breaking the human rights, and so are all other countries who are forcing their citizens to do service in the military. Now, I'll dance around the topic a little bit here. Zoe says that's slavery. That's extremely well put. Thank you. I'll just dance around the topic a little bit here. Because it was in the news that the evil man in Russia, Putin, don't get me wrong here, I don't support the invasion. Of course not. But there is a narrative here, and we need to understand that. So the story was that, and I guess you've all heard this, that he is now forcing uh, younger Russian men, allegedly, to do service in the military and in the war in the Ukraine. And the angle is that that's very bad. That's very bad to do that. And I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree. That should never happen. Um, but isn't it so that if you're a man in the Ukraine, you're not allowed even to leave because you have to go into the military and defend your country? But that's fine. That's heroic. That's great. That's wonderful, and should be applauded. That's the story. That's the narrative. I hope I'm not the only one who can see that there is something here that's not. There is a story. There's a narrative here that kind of stinks, right? Now, we don't have to get into any conspiracy theories or anything like that on a low drink, but um, the contrast surely must be obvious to any thinking human being out there. What Putin is doing, forcing people to do service in the military there, bad. What they're doing in the Ukraine, good. What? And I'm just sitting here. What is this? You know? So now, I will say this. I have not been in. I haven't done military service myself, and the reason for that it's very simple. I didn't at that time many years ago now. I didn't, you know. Yeah, I didn't want to, but at that year there were so many people drafted, so they just it was a lottery, you could say, and I won the lottery, so I have to go there. Now, what is happening in Norway, and I believe in many other European countries right now, is that their policy is to get a lot more manpower into the military. So, in other words, they want, and this is an official statement, they want a lot more teenagers into the military. And if you go on social media, the Facebook and so on, and you see people discussing this, most people, that's my impression, most people, most men of my age, I would say, and younger, in Norway, they are writing, well, that's good for those spoiled little teenagers. The military will uh, will sort everything out for them, and they will be better after that. And there is even a stupid effing reality show here in Norway that is very popular, where they take people, celebrities, into into sort of a fake military service, and there is some nonsensical mental coaching there that makes no sense, and it's just rubbish. And I'll say one more thing about that, by the way, because it annoys me. It annoys me a lot. Yeah, so that's the angle. Military service, good. Everything is good about that. But now we all know that what they're doing there, and this has been documented in several cases, they are breaking people down. Why are they breaking these young people down? Why? Why are they shouting at them? Now, I'm not talking about stress control that they do in the Marines and so on. That's a bit different, isn't it? Because also you, it's it, it's not obligatory, right? That's much different. So I'm not talking about where you go into military, it's your choice and you want to do that. Of course, that's very different. Not talking about that. But why are they instantly attacking these teenagers, 19-year-olds who have just started their obligatory year in the military? Why are these people shouting at them, telling them that they are worth nothing and all that? Why are they doing that? Why are they dehumanizing them? Why? I know the answer, and I guess you know this as well. It's not stress control. That's not the case. So, yeah, to form them. Um, no, no, it's not that. It's very easy to explain this from a psychological viewpoint. So, okay, and this is well documented, and you can look it up. Um, it's not hard to find. So the goal is to remove the individual and make every soldier into someone who will not question authority, orders, who will not think too much for him or herself, and who will have less empathy with anyone outside of the group, who will participate in groupthink, and basically someone who will just do as they're told. That's what they need in the military. They don't need people who can think for themselves. They don't need people. Well, again, I'm not talking about elite soldiers who do this for a living. That's different. But what we're seeing there is a very disgusting process going on. Breaking people down like that is disgusting. And in any other area of society would be illegal. It needs to stop. And I can tell you, if I had been in the military, I have no respect for authority. No, no, not none, no whatsoever. There would have been a physical confrontation, probably, and it would have ended in tears. I would not have been the one crying. Um, so Debugger says the objective is to feed the machine, make more servants. Exactly. So also I'm hearing or seeing, I spent time on the fake book yesterday. It was horrible. And I did that to prepare for this, and I saw a lot of people writing, yeah, well, they have to treat them like that so that they will be good soldiers that can defend Norway against Russia when Russia tries to invade Norway. Now, so I wonder, are these people, have they ever looked at a map? It's like, no, we would not be able to defend Norway against Russia. No. And also, if you didn't know, um, most of northern Norway would just be sacrificed, straight away sacrificed, gone. That's because of the logistics involved here. And I mean, what are these people thinking? What are they thinking? It's laughable. Now, I will say this. When you draft people, teenagers, into the military like that, they have no choice. Um, it's human sacrifice. You are sacrificing people's sons and daughters for the state. The state says, we own you for a year now. That's disgusting. It is horrible and it needs to stop. So the argument is that, well, we need this because if we don't have these soldiers in the Norwegian military, then Russia will invade us. That's the argument, and it's naive. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's but it is sad that people are that naive. I don't know how many hours it would take before Norway surrendered. I'm sorry to say that, but it's not it's not going to be a war on the ground. But anyway, yeah, I'll leave that. I'll leave that. They are creating cannon fodder. It's symbolism. That's what we're seeing here. When they are saying that we want more people into the military, it's part symbolism, and it's also part of what we're seeing is actually a future where citizens will be used as cannon fodder. Nothing new about that, sadly. We're seeing that again. And it needs to stop. And these disgusting people who are, I mean, when you look at I don't know, are they called sergeants in English? Those people who are just above private, so that they can have power over some people. They are, maybe 22 years old. They're kids. They know nothing about life. And they are the ones teaching young people how to survive in a possibly lethal confrontation. Okay, I've had my rant. I'll talk more about this in the future because it bugs me. And again, as I've made very clear, we're not talking, yeah, anarcho, break them and build them back better. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I understand you're being ironic there. Let me say a few words about that. Build them back better. They're not building them back better. What they're doing is they're creating people, as I said, who will be obedient, who will not question authority, who will do as they're told, and who will have less empathy with people outside, less or no empathy with people, human beings outside of the group. Because if we didn't do that, well, it would be almost impossible to get a normal human being to go and shoot someone they've never met in a country far away. Who would do that? It's not natural for us to do that. Yes, to defend what is ours, to defend our tribe, that's natural. And we will devastate our enemy if we have to defend what is ours. But we're not talking about that here. And yeah, okay. So, I should have done my little pause where I ask people to unsubscribe to the channel because I always seem to annoy some people, and that's okay. Um, I, you know, I'm just telling you how it is, and some people don't like that. That's okay. That's okay. Um, Now let's see here. Yeah. Well, okay. I'll just scroll up. I usually reply to the super chats first. Oh yes, I almost forgot. Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, we have a TV. I don't want to have a TV, but it's not up to me. So there's a TV in the house. And at one occasion, I think it was a year or a couple of years ago, there was this TV reality show that I'd mentioned, where they take these celebrities into a sort of a military setting, and then they had them out in the wilderness, solo, right? And you have to survive through the night. It was. I think it was during summer, and I'll say another thing as well after that. But so they had this task to build a shelter, and I think it was. Was it raining? No, I can't remember. But they built a shelter, right? And this guy, the sergeant, who has actually been a sergeant in the military, he was inspecting the shelters, and he saw one of the shelters, and he said, "Oh, this is good. This is a great shelter." And I was sitting there watching this, and I said, "What's this? I mean, what's this nonsense?" It was a shelter made out of spruce branches, and just a flat roof. Now, okay, if you didn't know, when you build a shelter out of spruce branches, you can't have a flat roof because you need a quite a steep angle for the rain to move down instead of through the roof, right? So when you have a flat roof made out of spruce branches, you will get very wet, and there's a fire hazard there as well. Um, yeah, so clearly this guy he had no concept of what he was talking about, none whatsoever. And I will say this, not to discredit people who have been in the military, but there is a big difference between survivalism and what you are taught in the military. In the military, unless you are in things like, I guess, I don't know all the branches in the USA. I'm trying to keep to the American terminology here, but there are people in the military who are trained, of course, in survival situations and so on, where they survive on their own. So not talking about those people, but in general, you are trained to survive and to manage as part of a group. Solo survivalism is very different. Um, it's it's much harder, mentally, much harder, especially mentally. Yeah. So also, let me just say one thing, and every psychiatrist and psychologist knows about this, and I'll just mention it. People who have been in the military, when they come out of the military, they very often have mental problems. Not only those who went to a war zone, but it's quite common to have problems. And they get problems because of what they experienced in the military during military service. Now, that's not often talked about, but it needs to be mentioned and it needs to be called out for what it is. And what it is abuse of these people. They are being abused and they're not being built up, they are being broken down, and it's not good. It is horrible and it needs to stop. So, yeah, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma. Yeah, and I've had a couple of occasions, I've had people from the military join me on more demanding, I should say, more demanding adventures like sailing across an ocean and so on. And I have not been impressed. One of those guys, I had to put him ashore because he got so scared of the waves. And he was from the Navy. I mean, okay, yeah, I admit that the waves of La Coruña, they can be very, very big. Um, but it scared him so that he went, he, he just, it was not for him. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, so are they talking about the draft in introducing draft in Poland? I actually don't know if they had. I thought they had it there already. Um, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into. Yeah, I'll try to reply to the comments here as if I can. Now, but I'm not going to get into topics that will get this channel in trouble. As I said, if you say anything that goes against the official narrative concerning the war in Ukraine, uh, you will get in trouble as a YouTuber. And you know, when whenever they say that you can't say this, we should question that. Why is that? Because if the truth, the truth is, that's a very solid thing. That's the thing about the truth. It's solid. It's it You can question the truth. It doesn't break apart from that. A lie, on the other hand, if you question a lie, it very often breaks apart, if you know what I mean. Matthias, good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, I did have a migraine in when I went in England, but yeah, I still enjoyed my time there. We had a good time there. Yeah. Let Fish Tank, good to see you again. Let me also say that it is obvious that soldiers today are being used to push globalism. They are being used to push a certain, how should I put this? Gone are the days when the army was used to defend your country. You know, I can't see that that's what's going on now. In that They are being sent to a different country to fight a war there. I mean, you know what you understand what I'm talking about here, I guess. Um, don't get me wrong here. I'm not. I'm no. It is very difficult to talk about, and I hate that I have to censor myself during this live stream. It's just as it was with the mysterious cocktail in the syringe, you know. Yeah. So in the future, I think that the truth will come out, and we will see what is really the motivation behind certain. Yeah, no, I won't go there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But just look at the money stream. For instance, if you're in the USA, and I guess you guys know this, maybe you know this already. Look at where the money is going. All that money that was promised to that country in Eastern Europe. Look at where that money is going. You know. No, Larry. No. Dude can't even talk. Klaus Schwab has his tongue. If you knew what my content is about, and if you knew my channel, you wouldn't write that. That's just stupid. Do better next time. Try again. Yeah. Anthony, first of all, thank you for that comment. I will read your comment. I will say I'm sorry to hear this, but yeah. So Anthony is writing 12 minutes behind. Oh, you're watching in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 12 minutes behind. I'm ex-RAF in my youth. Basic training is trauma-based mind control to, as Bjorn says, break down the individual. Here, Sean. To reduce the individual and group to automatons. Automatons. Yeah. I don't think that's a good thing, obviously. Sophia says, now that we have talked about something else, I can say those words, Sophia. Thank you for those words. Money laundering. And they're laundering money as never before now. And they must be ecstatic about that. Kelly, well, thank you. Thanks a lot. Connie says, if you annoy people, that means you are right on target. Keep going. Well, yeah, I'm doing my best. Yeah, people seem to get annoyed. I'm much more direct here on my live streaming channel than on my main channel. And to be honest with you, I thought this channel would have. No, I shouldn't say that. But I'm glad that this channel is still here. I'm happy about that. And it's closing in on 100,000 subscribers actually. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, okay. Yeah, of course. I should say that I'm saying here is not coming from a pacifist view. It shouldn't be necessary to say that. It's quite obvious, right? But I just think that in general, it is wrong to abuse young people or anyone and to reduce them to obedient servants who will do what as they're told and not question authority. and send them off to some country and to kill some people there. I think that's a bad idea. I don't think that that makes things in the world better. Call me crazy for saying that if you want to. Let's see. Yeah, Joe Schenk says the military industrial complex runs the show. Yes. Now, money. If you look at the people around Joe Biden, their former employees are, Raytheon and, oh, yeah, well, some of them, they come straight from the war industry. And I read a few articles before the selection in the USA, and people wrote that if Biden is selected, elected, uh, um, there will be war, because these people, they will demand war to feed the war machine. It's about money. That's what they said. That's what they wrote. That was long before Russia and all that. I'm not saying it's correct or wrong or anything. I'm just saying that that's what people who knew what they were talking about, that's what they wrote, and they warned about this. And surprise, surprise, look at what happened. Yeah. So let's see. I will try now to reply to the comments, and I will say to anyone who listens to this that if you subscribe, you can join the chat. I have the settings so that you have to subscribe to join the chat, because it seems to deter trolls and haters and so on to, you know. But yeah, so let's see. GB, good to see you. Licinio says, wise words. Well, thank you for that. It is common sense. It's just common sense. And I'm just, I guess, speaking out loud what a lot of people are thinking right now. There are lots of people who are awake. There are lots of people who can see what is happening. Heider says, I'm subscribed. That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, I just want to point out that I'm not, what I was talking about here, as I think this must be the fourth time I'm saying this, is not when you, out of free will, go into the military and you view it as a job and a career. That's very different, right? That's very different from what we're talking about here, which is when the state says, you people, you are being taken now into the military for a year. And if you don't want to, well, it doesn't matter. We own you for a year now. So, two very different scenarios, okay? Richard says, we know what's going on, but how do we change it? That's a very good question. And I think that we will find good answers by communicating, by continuing to have this conversation. Myself, I believe that, and I've said it a million times, that we need to go back to nature and a more natural way of living. We need to refuse to be part of what's going on with the automation, surveillance, and a lot of people, they don't like when I say that. I don't care, but surveillance is certainly going on. I mean, a smartphone is a surveillance device. I mean, think about it. That's what it is. It's not rocket science. I mean, come on. It's Carl Erik Yate Johansson. Uh, I guess you are Swedish. That's good. It's good to have Swedish people here. Um, and donate. Thank you for this super chat. Donate little money. That's extremely kind of you. I will say that if times are hard, and times are hard for a lot of people now, keep the money to yourself. That's totally understandable. A super chat is, of course, always very, very kind, and it's awesome. But also, if don't feel any pressure to give us a super chat. I will do my best to read your comments here in the chat. But I will say that I got a $100 super chat in was it last week? So I was able to give those $100 to charity, to Animals Asia. They are doing a lot of good work. So let's see. Maria from Canada. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Another Swede here says, I'll translate. Hello. Good show. How does the prices look for electric power in Norway? It is difficult in Sweden. It's difficult in Norway as well. It is very expensive, very expensive. Because what our politicians have tried to deny this for a long time, but it was the day when they connected Norway to mainland Europe, to the market there. The prices went straight up. So before that, Norway's main advantage as a country for industry and so on was that we had very, very low prices for electric energy, because we have a lot of natural energy in Norway from the waterfalls and so on. Olem, well, thanks a lot for that super chat. That's extremely kind of you. Let's see here. I'll tell you a secret. I have gotten another pair of glasses that are stronger. Getting old. What do you think about? Alem is asking, what do you think? What do you think? Is it time to have a Nordic organization against deforestation and privatization of forest? Yes, absolutely. We need to work against what's happening. And for those who didn't know, in Norway, and probably it's in Sweden, probably it's the same in Sweden, they are chopping down so much forest, destroying habitats for wildlife, and it is horrible. I've never seen anything like this. It doesn't. It's like we have always used the forest here, of course. I mean, I live in a wooden house, so that's not the problem. But what we're seeing now is the clear cutting of vast areas. And I live quite close to the border to the EU, actually, and close to the Swedish border, and I see trains going there, and I see trucks going there with logs, like hundreds of logs. Um, so, yeah, yes, absolutely. If I understand you correctly, we need to do what we can to work against that, to stop that. Um, okay. Oh, same in the Netherlands, chopping trees down for those so-called green energy wood chip factories. Yes, and you know what I've heard? That was the Woodlander who talked about this on his channel. He just mentioned it, and you normally don't cut down small trees, right? Because you can't make wooden boards out of the small trees. But they cut down everything now, and maybe I'm mistaken. I don't think so. What I have heard is that they are using those to make to the grinding them up to make pellets, because that's defined by the EU as environmental or green energy, wood pellets. Isn't that sick? Oh, set up a petition. That's a very good idea. Now, I will tell you another secret. No, it's not a secret. I want to buy forest. Um, and to keep that forest. It will be used for, like, anyone can hike and use the forest for hiking and spending time there. That's what I want, but no cutting down the trees and no hunting. Now, I'm not against hunting if it's done ethically, but I'm not seeing that in Norway, sadly. There might be ethical hunters here, but I haven't met them. I'm just telling you how it is. So there will be no hunting, there will be no chopping down the trees, because I will leave it as it is to create what we call old forest. Old forest is extremely valuable for wildlife, for all the little bugs and lichen. Is that what you say? The, the which grows on old logs and so on. Insects and bird life and so on. Yeah, Joseph, that's extremely kind of you. Thanks a lot. Um, oh, you're from Niceville, FL. Is that Florida? Niceville, Florida. Um, is that the real name? That's a nice name. But you're writing that sadly things in the USA are becoming more tyrannical. Citizens are hunkered down, living in fear of their overlords. Yes, that's my impression as well. Um, Now, during the plague, as I say, ironically, um, I understand that in the USA, in most states, it was very strict. Freedom was just taken away from people. We were not hit that hard in Norway, and even less so in Sweden. And my I have yeah, it was horrible to see and to yeah, it's just horrible. Um, okay. Let's see. Yeah, Punk Cosmos says, I recently bought an owl nest box to help the local population. Yeah, that is very, very good that you did that. And you are reminding me of that. I planned to do that, but then I forgot. We have some other people actually who try to care for those birds in locally here, because there are not locally, but people who come here. Um, what do you call the people who take photos of birds? Um, and there are quite a lot of those, and they are always very friendly, and they want to talk, and they have photos to show me and so on. I meet them up in the forest sometimes, and you can you recognize them by their huge lenses on the cameras. Yeah, but I'll probably make one of those nest boxes for owls. Absolutely. Um, Margot, thanks a lot. That's very kind of you. A donation to the Old Forest Fund. Hopefully, the trails are dog friendly. Yes, the whole forest will be dog friendly. Absolutely. Um, bird watchers, yes. Yeah, that's what Modern Viking Norway, bird watchers. Exactly. Ornithologists, yes. Yeah. Yeah, one thing I can mention, one thing that happened, I'm a few years ago. I walked out to my car one morning, and under a tree there was a dead owl, dead owl. Um, and That was just very sad. I didn't manage to figure out what killed it, but I called some people who work with rehabilitation and so on, and they said that probably lead poisoning, because they can live for a long time with the lead. People shoot them, and they can live for a long time with lead in them, and then after a while, that's what kills them. So yeah, just horrible. I can't, you know. I hope I never come across people who do things like that. Yeah. So, hmm. Manef says, why are seagulls coming 60 miles inland from the sea in the UK? What are they scared of at the shore? I think I can answer that, or at least give an educated guess. Maybe not that they are scared of things at shore, but less fish. There is less fish in the ocean. Yes, last year we had several seabirds starving to death here because they can't find fish, because of the fishing industry is just emptying the oceans. It needs to stop. That's another thing that just needs to stop. It's horrible. It needs to stop. Um, and but I can't see that there is in, anyone talking much about it. It's all about that you can't drive a petrol car, that you can't. It's there's That's all they talk about. But the overfishing is serious. It's very serious. It's disrupting the whole system. Yeah, and microplastics. Don't get me started on that one. But I will say I have seen some strange behavior from flocks of birds around these difficult topic again. These masts. you know. That's something that can be observed and should make people think twice, you know. But okay. Water, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. They censored your comment. I think that was very rude. I have the option, if I see it, I have the option to approve the comment, which I did. Yeah. So, yes. Okay. Okay. We have lots of people here in the chat and lots of people watching uh, the live stream. 1,592 people. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's a good time of the day and a good day in the week. I didn't see your comment, Morten. Yes, if you can hit the like button, that's wonderful. Absolutely. Um, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to when I so this is what happens when I start looking at the comments. It's I'm not really creating good content for those who are watching in replay, so I'm doing my best here. Um, yeah. Okay. Troll Patrol says hit that like. Wonderful. Yeah, there are some moderators here doing some good work. Absolutely. Um, okay. Yeah. So I I will say this: if there is anything you want me to comment on, um, to the best of my abilities, I will do that now since there are many people watching now. So let me know in the chat um, if there is something that you think I should comment on. So yeah, well, yeah, okay. So there's one thing here. There are a little bit of fake news. Com- um, okay, so I've seen fake news about Norway in Sky News Australia and Fox News, and it's a bit. I mean, I wish they had not done that because they it kind of makes them takes them down to the level of CNN and news news channels like that. The last one was that there will be no petrol cars in Norway after 2025. Uh, yeah, that's not true. But what we are seeing is that because the EU has said that there will be no new petrol or I think also diesel cars sold after 2030, the big car brands, they're not really making an effort to develop new models anymore, new petrol or diesel models anymore. So they will probably stop selling new petrol cars, new diesel cars long before 2030. But we have the secondhand ones, of course. So, but in I that was Sky News Australia. They said Norway has decided that there will be no petrol cars after 2025. That or from 2025, and that's not correct. um, Yeah. And I will add this on that topic that can you imagine the strain on the electric power grid if everyone has an electric car? They have to be charged. We're looking at an energy crisis in the horizon. It's what we're seeing now is nothing compared to what we are heading towards. I was looking. I'm kind of interested in cars actually. I'm not a car expert, but a little bit interested. Um, and the car salesman, he said that it's not going. It's not. It won't add up. They're going to. He said they're going to have a nuclear power station on every corner. That's what they're going to have to do. So yeah. Gerard says, "Well, thanks for the donation and greetings from Holland, and greetings to you from Norway." But okay, I will end the live stream here. It's 1 hour, and that's enough for now. Thanks a lot for being part of this community. I am honestly glad that this channel has survived all the craziness with censorship and so on. We're still here, and that's awesome. And thanks a lot for joining, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, have a wonderful day, and as always, stay strong.